Hello, Gabby. So this is the guide for the first project. What I've done is, as you can see in the Dropbox folder, we have different folders here. And what I've done is, in terms of project files, I want you to use the one with Gabby, and this is the original file, so we can see the differences. Okay, and then what? Additionally, these you don't need to touch. Just this is the one when you double click, the project will open. The rest of these are already in the project. And as for this one, I'm just gonna, if I need to bring it in the project, I just drag and drop. So it's gonna import that in. So the basic thing, the task about this project is that I want you to learn how to take out jerks, how to do rough edits, and then how to render them into different and name them. And while naming them, you will learn what the different compositions are to make you think of the shot, what to name the shot, and what things to keep in mind when doing the rough cut. So the first thing that we're going to start, let this import. The first thing that we're going to start is simply uh, giving you an idea of the rough cuts. Okay. So for example, this one, if I just click on it and drag it and bring it on new sequence, it opens a new sequence like these. Okay. So you see some of these have sound, some of these don't. So that doesn't matter. You don't need sound. The point is to teach you how I'm naming them. Chemical measuring cup with hands of kids in the back. Focus pull. Okay. So focus pull is when you switch focus from one thing to another thing. Okay. And then this is a guy on the street playing violin and cello, front angle. So this is the front angle in that way. So this is two kids working. Just this is to give you an idea. This is two men welding in a factory. Slider. A slider is when you move on a device, which is a slider. From the camera doesn't move itself, but stays in one place. The slider moves and takes the camera either right to left, left to right, or back to front, front to back. Okay. Then we have a pan. In this one, a pan is when on the tripod we move the head of the tripod from left to right or right to left. That's called a pan. For example, this one is left to right, so accordingly I named it that. So let's move on. So this is a sine angle from a moving car, a big bus stop, a boy scrolling through MacBook. So this is a close-up when it's really close. When it's somewhere mid shot, for example, if it's a person and it's still their waist, then that's a mid shot. And the master is when you can see everything. So this one is a girl filling there again. And focus pull, as you can see, it was out of focus and it came into focus. So this is called a focus pull. Again, this is a closer. So you write close up here at the end. So I want you to follow these examples for the naming conventions in terms of focus pull, pan, close up, slider, side angle, front shot, uh, tilt. A tilt, so this is just a static shot. So here you don't mention side angle, focus pull or anything, right? This is again a small slide pan. This is a tilt. A tilt is when the camera moves on the tripod from top to bottom or bottom to top. So this is a tilt, so you mention it here. So this is what we need to keep in mind in terms of naming conventions, and you can go through these and get a, so this is another slider. The camera is moving from left to right, and it's a beef blue cheeseburger display. Okay, so in terms of naming, we have a maximum limit of 100 characters, but I would like you to stick to 10 characters, not 10, I'm sorry, about 80 characters, 60 to 80 characters, and describe the thing as if someone is looking for it on Google so they can find it. And all of the names have to be different. Sometimes it's a two shots, like again, this is focus pull, this is slider. Sometimes it's two shots of the same thing but in a different way. So this was the slider I talked about when you're moving away. So I said moving away 3. That means we had 2 more shots which are moving away. So that's why I named it 3. So in terms of sequences like 1, 2, 3 and the same names, I don't want you to name it more than 3. try to use some different names. So this is a short brief on the naming, and you can go through these videos to get an idea on focus pull, close-ups, side angles, handheld. When we mention handheld, I think there's one handheld here as well. If I'm a moving car, uh, compilations of shot, I don't want you to do compilations, and side angle, this is again slider, this is a pan right to left. So yeah, so that gives you an idea. So this is right at the end here, and it's in the folder as well for you to watch separately. So as you can see, I have already prepared for you these different sequences, they call it, okay? And with the mouse, you can move right, left on this. You come right to the first one. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go through each clip. For example, this one, you can let go, and so this clip, okay? And I want you to see, so this is like if it's really heavy for you, I bring it to quarter or half, so it gives you an idea. So here you see, okay, is there a jerk, a slight jerk in the start, okay, and then let it be, okay, so we cut it before it goes up like that, okay. So our aim is to basically do rough cuts for a minimum of 5.6 seconds. This is 5 seconds here. So I make this like 502, maybe 5. Let me see. Okay. So then you see, okay, for this one, okay, this is too small. So for the ones which are too small, you just keep them up like this. At times, if it's not too small, what you can try doing is right click, speed duration. Say let's try this one as 70. So it's still, it's quite small, it's like coming to 4 something. So, for us, it has to be minimum 5 seconds and 12 milliseconds, for example, okay? So, Control Z and it will go back. So in this case also, like this is done. So so for the ones which are too small, and you feel like, okay, even if you slow it down, for example, if it's 4 and you slow it down to 80% and still looks okay, then that's good, else what you do is you just select them and bring them up. So you see, okay, now this one, it seems to be very close, for example, right? So this is a pan from left to right, but now it's shaking, so you can delete this one. This one's too small. Now this one I really like. So this one is definitely under a thing, and so you see there's a slight jerk here. Okay, so you bring it till here, and then you play. So the nice shot here actually is from here. Here I move from left to right. This is called handheld, moving from left to right. Now when we go and look at it, in terms of duration, again this is too small. So speed, so you go to speed, say 70%. Say okay, this is still not that much. How does it look? Looks weird. So for all the small ones, you can go ahead and keep them up, and for all the ones which are possible within 5 seconds and a maximum of 15 seconds, I want you to render them after doing the rough cut. So normally what I do is first so in this case, I have put in the effects on all of them, the basic effects, which is sharp, okay, sharpen, and I keep that at 5, okay, and when you put in the effect, you can put full, then contrast, bring it here, keep this as 5, this as 3, you can see the difference, okay. So this is something I place on all of them, so it's already on all of them. These are just new clips I placed right now. Select, and I say paste attribute. So now all of them I have it, and I would do the same for this one. So I'm pressing the minus, it goes like this, and plus minus plus minus. Okay, and this is simply selecting, right click, paste, or control A, right click, paste, control A, right click, paste. Okay, so here we have these already ready. Okay, so what I want you to do is one what I generally do is this color correction is already done. So you shortlist the ones. Okay, this one's too small, this one possible. So I keep like a small distance between these guys, and I do the rough cuts. So this is a fan. Okay, this is a good shot and a usable shot. Okay, so it's shaking here. So before that we got it. So then once we have this portion, okay, and again keep minimum 5 seconds. This is just for example. Okay, so here it's very much possible to do this. Okay, and then yeah. So this, don't keep it right at the edge, just one less, so that it doesn't give a black screen when we have them as in the display. Okay, just one less. Okay, so once you have, for example, you've done rough cut for all of these. Okay, and rough cut is taking out the jerks and so making sure this the shot is minimum 5 seconds to 5:33. Could be like, but it should be more than 5. Yeah, not less than 5. So this 5:33 could be 5:17 as well. Okay, so now once you have this, press Command M. Okay, press OK. Okay, go here, choose QuickTime, choose HD 10i25 H24 AC. Okay, and then you go here. This will save it as an MOV file. You go here and you save it as in video edits only. You make a new, I made a new folder. No, cancel. Within the same folder, you make a folder. Very good. So this one, okay, so we name a folder according to the sequence. For example, this is render. So you can write render Santa Santa Fe, okay, and create, and then once you have that over here, you name it accordingly. So I don't want you to repeat the naming. Look at the naming format. I want you to write, for example, in this one you said uh, uh, so it should be sentence, what do you call this, title case with all the words in capital. Okay, people in an old vintage wine shop, and this is a pan from left to right, and when I save. Once you save, you press export. Okay, so these are the settings, and you press export. Okay, so I don't know what's the problem at the moment. Should compile. Media encoder. Anyways, just to give you an idea, I'll figure it out what's the problem. So what I want you to do is I want you to do the rough cuts of all of these, keeping in mind the duration should be minimum 5 and maximum 15. You know, if there's a long shot, you can cut it into 2 shots, you know. And so minimum 5, maximum 15, and do the rough cuts. And the ones which are too small, you try to slow them down up to 80 to 75% of the speed, and if it looks okay, then you can render it. Okay, now in some cases, in all of these I've placed like the basic thingy, which is brightness and sharpening. Okay, But in some cases, for example, this cannot be, like, this is slide jerk. So in some cases, if I go to, for example, even in the shots, but I'm just giving you an idea from here because I know definitely. So this happens when the file is loading because there's a lot of files in it. So, and I believe that's why the error was coming, it was loading. Yeah. So some cases when it's not smooth, it's not that smooth and it's moving a little bit, and this is a long shot, so you definitely have to cut it in half. Okay, Control Z. So that's when I use, yeah, for example, this one. Okay. So you have to notice even the, the change in the color that comes over here, you know. So cut from here. So now you see it's shaking a little bit, or this is shaking a little bit. So for this, go here, write WRPR, and you place it, keep it clicked, and you bring it here. It says analyze on background, and here it shows you how many frames it's done. So it goes on to analyze, and while it's analyzing, you can keep editing. So while you're editing, I normally what I do is I select all of these, bring them a little bit here, and I make this the size of 5 seconds. So I know, okay, within 5 seconds, any clip which is smaller, way smaller, then you just put it on top like I told you before, and just to get an idea. Okay, so I put this here, say okay, this is possible. So I bring this here, this one is not at all possible, even if you slow down. Yeah, this is really possible. Okay, so, but keep them where it is. Don't break the sequence. If this is first, this is second, this is third, so it should be the same way. But if this is going to be up, then keep a gap between them. Okay, so you can look, okay, this one is possible, maybe you can slow it down, this one possible. So you do this. Once you align all of these like with the small gaps, then you start saying, okay, where should I start? So there's a jerk here. Okay, then stop. Now what I'm doing is I press C, then I have the cutter. Okay, the space bar is to keep moving, and the V on the keyboard gives you to drag it like this. So for example, doing this. Okay, this is one shot we have. And again we will put a warp stabilizer on this as well because it's shaking, and as you can see, this one stabilized. Yeah, this one. So this one, you see, so once you put the warp stabilizer, you have to check. Sometimes it gives you a wobbly look, to check if it's okay, and to make sure to see the properties, you click on it and you can see it all over here. These are the properties, okay, the effects control. So you see, okay, this looks nice, this looks nice. And so remember, when naming, I've given you the name of the place. You do, when you're naming them, be smart about it when you're naming these things, yeah. Uh, so yeah, so what basically I want you to do is, starting from the first one, which is here, I want you to go through all of these, okay, and render them, okay. And the same case goes for this one. Starting from this, then you do it for this, do the rough cuts, cutting them and then rendering them 5 to 10 15 seconds. If too long, then break it into two clips. And in case of the naming, we have the video examples that I showed you in the start, and that's a maximum of, we aim for 80 characters, not more than that. 16 to 80, not too less. So it should have a description which explains. And again, the two small ones, you just keep them on the top, but don't break the sequence. Yeah. Okay. So so we're going to continue on that. The error was coming because I had Dropbox open here, so I want you to close the Dropbox when you're working on this, and then sync it, because the files seem to get corrupted. So here it is. So we press Control M. Okay, and it will take us here. The settings are QuickTime, 10 1080i 25. Okay, name it, place it in the proper folder. For example, here, and video edits within, and here you can name it accordingly. Like how I mentioned in the start, the renders, so get them separate for each sequence. So anyways, after this, I just press export and it start exporting, and you see a bar pop up. And so this one I'm going to cancel because we don't need to do that, and cancel. Okay, other ways of exporting are there, but I'd suggest that you just you can export from here, media. But at the moment, this is the most important thing that you need to know. So all the best, and this is going to teach you about shorts, about rough cutting. When you're rendering them, it will teach you about the different movements, which is panning, tilt, handheld, focus pulls, slider shots, static shots. Static shots is when there's no movement at all, so stuff like that. And the moving shots, for moving from car or moving from train shots. So, these are the things. So for this, I want you to first do this, uh, this, the train, and Santa Felicidade, and have this with me within 2 days. Once you have these rendered, so I will look at it and see, okay, how's your thing going, how you're cutting the jerks and everything, and are you keeping the conventions in mind or not, and then you can continue finishing all of these. We are aiming for end of next week, like as in Friday, to have all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes you get errors, so don't worry, it happens. But that's when you come in and you have these reports, So yeah, all the best, and I look forward to you working on this and learning from this.